Britain is on fire tonight, not because of riots or protests, but because of something far more dangerous, an all-out war between the King of England and his own Prime Minister. For the first time in living memory, Buckingham Palace and Downing Street are locked in a head-on collision that threatens to tear apart the very foundations of British democracy. What just happened between King Charles and Keir Starmer has stunned the nation, shaken Parliament, and left millions of people asking the same terrifying question. Has the United Kingdom just entered a constitutional crisis? It began quietly behind closed doors. A leaked report from Whitehall claims that Keir Starmer privately accused King Charles of gross interference in the running of government. According to two cabinet insiders, the Prime Minister was furious after discovering that Charles had been holding secret discussions with senior Conservative and Reform UK figures. Not ceremonial chats, not polite meetings, but detailed conversations about policy leadership and the direction of the country. If true, this would mark the most blatant political intervention by a monarch in over 3 centuries. But Starmer's response is what turned this from a private scandal into a public firestorm. In a late-night emergency cabinet meeting, the Prime Minister reportedly shouted, "If the King insists on meddling in politics, then he has broken his duty to the nation." His words stunned even his closest allies. A source inside the room says you could hear a pin drop before ministers erupted in panic. One senior Labour MP whispered, "He's just crossed the line no Prime Minister should ever cross. The timing could not be more explosive." Britain is already on edge. Inflation remains above 10%. Food prices are breaking records and energy bills have left millions struggling to survive. Protests have spread through London, Manchester and Birmingham, with hundreds of thousands demanding change. Polls show trust in government has collapsed, while anger at the political establishment has never been higher. In that fragile climate, Starmer's attack on the King has landed like a political earthquake. Within hours of the leak, the press went into overdrive. The Daily Mail roared with the headline, "Starmer versus the Crown." The Times described the moment as a clash of institutions not seen since the abdication crisis. Even traditionally, Labour-leaning outlets struggled to defend him. Social media platforms exploded with fury. On X, the hashtag #WarOnTheKing trended with millions of posts, while TikTok clips of Farage and Reform UK praising the monarchy dominated feeds across the nation. And then came the bombshell that took this from scandal to crisis. Palace aides quietly confirmed that King Charles had in fact met with at least 2 Reform UK strategists in the past fortnight. The palace insisted these were private conversations about Britain's cultural identity. But to millions, the message was clear: the King is no longer staying neutral. For many ordinary Britons, it looked like the monarch himself was choosing sides in the political battle for Britain's future. The fallout has been devastating for Labour. Polling conducted just 24 hours after Starmer's remarks shows public opinion collapsing. A YouGov Snap poll found 71% of voters believe the Prime Minister disrespected the monarchy. Even worse, nearly half of Labour's own supporters said they were deeply uncomfortable with his language. In red wall constituencies, the numbers are catastrophic. Focus groups in Stoke-on-Trent and Hartlepool describe Labour voters calling Starmer reckless, arrogant, and even un-British. Meanwhile, Reform UK has seized the moment with ruthless precision. Standing outside Westminster, draped in Union Jack flags, Nigel Farage declared, "While others insult our crown, we stand with it. While others divide the nation, we unite it." His message is simple, his delivery sharp, and his timing perfect. Donations to Reform have surged past £5 million in just 3 days. Membership is doubling daily. In once safe Labour seats, voters are openly defecting, saying they trust Farage to protect traditional Britain. Inside Downing Street, chaos reigns. Leaks describe screaming matches between advisers, with some urging Starmer to apologise to the King and others insisting he double down. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner is said to be privately furious, warning that Labour could lose power in a snap election. At least 30 Labour MPs are already discussing leadership alternatives. WhatsApp groups with names like Save Labour and the Next PM buzz late into the night. Insiders whisper that Starmer's downfall could be days away, not months. And through all of this, King Charles has said nothing, not a single word, not a statement, not an interview. By dawn, the crisis had entered uncharted territory. Britain woke to headlines screaming of a constitutional showdown, and the country's political establishment looked more fragile than at any point in modern memory. Keir Starmer, instead of retreating, doubled down. In a televised statement outside Downing Street, he declared, "The government answers to the people, not the palace. No one is above accountability, not even the Crown." It was the boldest, most confrontational line any Prime Minister has delivered against a monarch since Oliver Cromwell's time. And within seconds, the backlash was furious. Royalists flooded the streets in London waving flags and chanting, "Defend the Crown." Within hours, massive pro-monarchy demonstrations erupted in Birmingham, Newcastle, and Liverpool. Videos showed thousands singing "God Save the King" outside Buckingham Palace, their chants drowning out a handful of counter-protesters carrying Labour banners. The images went viral, sending shockwaves across social media. For millions, Starmer wasn't speaking as a reformer. He was speaking as a man at war with Britain's very identity. Inside Parliament, the rebellion was gathering pace. By mid-morning, at least 47 Labour MPs had publicly demanded clarification from Starmer. Several shadow ministers threatened resignation if the Prime Minister didn't issue a retraction. One senior Labour figure, speaking on condition of anonymity, told reporters he has turned this into a fight between the government and the monarchy. That is political suicide. If he doesn't step aside, Labour will be destroyed. Meanwhile, Reform UK continued to ride a wave of momentum that no one saw coming. Nigel Farage, careful to project statesmanship, refused to gloat. Instead, he framed reform as the patriotic alternative. Standing alongside veterans outside Parliament, he said, "We honour tradition. We respect the Crown. We serve the people. Others can play games with our institutions, but we will defend them to the last." The symbolism was devastating for Labour. Farage was no longer the fringe disruptor. He was the flag-bearer of stability, unity, and national pride. And the numbers prove it. Fresh Ipsos polling shows Reform UK surging past Labour in key battleground seats, with some models predicting a Reform-led government if an election were held today. In just 5 days, Reform opened 60 new constituency offices, recruited over 20,000 volunteers, and secured multi-million-pound donations from major business leaders. 2 Conservative MPs are rumoured to be preparing to defect to Reform before the week is out. All the while, Buckingham Palace maintains its silence. But silence does not mean weakness. Sources close to the royal household suggest the king is meeting daily with constitutional advisers at Balmoral, considering every option. Former ministers whisper that the palace is deeply disturbed by Starmer's rhetoric. Some speculate the king may issue a rare public statement defending the monarchy's role. Others fear something far more dramatic: a formal intervention in the constitutional order if the Prime Minister refuses to back down. The international reaction has only added to the pressure. Washington issued a pointed statement reaffirming its unwavering support for the United Kingdom's constitutional monarchy. Canada and Australia echoed the same. European leaders, however, expressed serious concern about Britain's political stability, with Brussels openly questioning whether London is still a reliable partner. Suddenly, the crisis isn't just domestic, it's global. Britain's allies are watching worried and preparing for the worst. Inside Labour, the knives are out. WhatsApp groups of MPs are alive with talk of succession. David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, has reportedly been approached by 3 separate factions, urging him to prepare a leadership bid. Angela Rayner is said to be weighing her options, furious at being dragged into what she calls a reckless fight. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has privately warned colleagues that Labour risks total collapse if Starmer stays in office. Some MPs are even exploring constitutional mechanisms for forcing a leadership challenge before the next parliamentary session. For the public, the battle lines are clearer than ever. Polls show a staggering 68% of Britons now believe Starmer has disrespected British values. Even worse, focus groups in northern towns, once loyal to Labour, describe lifelong voters saying they will never forgive his attack on the king. One retired miner in Sunderland summed it up: "I voted Labour my whole life. But the monarchy is part of who we are. If he can't respect that he doesn't respect